So we've got all these filters going on. But what's really there is, let's just say raw energy. So the raw energy is not good or bad or right or wrong or pleasant or unpleasant. I mean, think about that. So think about pleasant and unpleasant. A lot of us will think, well, what I think is pleasant is just pleasant, like universally so, and what I think is unpleasant is universally unpleasant. Actually, that's not true at all. I mean, different cultures will think that different things are pleasurable or unpleasurable. Different individuals within a culture will think that things are either pleasurable or unpleasurable. Different species might think that different things are pleasurable or unpleasurable. So it's not that something is objectively pleasurable or unpleasurable. It's determined by the filters. So so our filters are what make up our map. So if you're functioning from the map, uh, and you think that you've exhausted all possibilities, all options, then you're mistaken because actually your filters have virtually eliminated almost all other options. So you're blind to them as long as you're just focused on your existing filters. If you think that your map is the territory, then you're just ignoring almost everything else, which is almost everything. So then think about this, I mean, so for example, so hypnosis can be used, which is a loaded term. What do we even mean by that? But there are examples of hypnosis being used to replace anesthesia for surgery. So if I mean, and even just anesthesia, which like drug anesthesia is also an interesting example because there are lots of theories about how and why anesthesia works, but fundamentally, nobody really knows. So there's an action, like cutting into the body that most people would say, well, that's just inherently painful. But then that can be altered. The filters can be altered so that it's not painful. In fact, it could even be made pleasurable. So the action itself is not actually pleasurable or unpleasurable. The pleasure or lack of pleasure or displeasure is determined by the filters. Now, think about your life and think about where you feel stuck. If you don't feel stuck in any way, then just kick back and relax and enjoy yourself. But if you feel stuck in any way, then just consider that area of your life in which you feel stuck, and then just notice that perhaps you have not been considering options available to you because you've been so fixated on your map, mistaking that for the territory. So then how could you help yourself out? Well, you could start by just questioning the accuracy of your map. Like you could just say, well, how do I know that's true? So your map would be, it can show up in many ways, but I mean, one example would be through your thoughts. So you could just notice what thoughts you have about how you feel stuck or perceive that you're stuck. And then you could just ask yourself, is that true? I know it sounds too simple to actually be useful. But then again, most people never even bother to actually really do that exploration because they just dismiss it because they say, well, it's too simple, it couldn't work. So you consider that, like just start with just an inventory of what do you think, what are the beliefs that you have? So just think about this. A lot of time people will think they'll have a belief like, well, I've tried everything. You ever catch yourself having a belief like that? I've tried everything. Tried everything. You could just ask yourself, is that true? Really? I've tried everything. I mean, if that's true, then it would mean there's nothing you have not tried. So if you could just find one single counterexample, then that would disprove that belief, right? Now, you might say, well, I mean, yeah, sure, there's one thing I didn't try, but that thing would be crazy. But I've tried everything else. Oh, really? And this is how we do it. We totally delude ourselves because we just believe our own crazy thinking.